tell us your Instagram page real quick, fast, so people can go find you.
Instagram page, what?
Hey, tell us what it is. Your Instagram. Tell us your Instagram page, the handle.
The handle is at NI Reptiles. So that's for NIR Reptiles. It's Nick's Intriguing Reptiles. So, yeah.
And you have you were on the podcast around this time last year, maybe just after the Expo was when we first met, and you have a real cool story of getting into kind of blowing up into the sort of the rack scene with tons of snakes and getting kind of overwhelmed and burnt out almost, and then coming back into the hobby years later. I don't know how long was the gap. I forget.
Not a huge gap, and always had reptiles too. Like I never completely left, but I'd say it was about 3 years break from breeding and having a bigger collection, if I can say.
Yeah. And now you have one of the coolest like lizard collections in Canada, probably. I don't know.
Probably.
Thank you.
I still haven't seen it, but from what he says, he's got the coolest.
Yeah, it's a lot of those pictures I also find on Google.
You guys were speaking to Brandon a few minutes ago. He's got a pretty cool collection as well.
True. Yeah, he's up there.
I mean,
but yours is very diverse, and you bring in weird things.
Yeah, exactly. I love the weird stuff.
So is there anything you look for in particular when bringing in a new species? Like
that's
other
a
parameters,
really
like
tough question.
Size or anything that you have to fit in, or
There's a bunch of parameters, right?
Yeah.
The first one is I never get stuff that doesn't fit well in my room. Like my room is pretty much like 25 degrees all throughout summer, so I can't get any of the, for example, Europlatus. I would have a hard time with that. Anything that needs a little cooler temperatures, I would have a hard time with that. So that's the first thing. I look for stuff that can fit well in my room, and nothing big. Sorry, Greg. I'll leave you with the.
I'm okay with having something big.
Lizards.
Yeah.
And after that, I think follow my heart. It's it sounds very romantic when it comes to lizard shopping.
Yeah, just French blood.
I look for colors, morphology.
Yeah,
cool behavior is a big thing. Like I have a big thing for live bearers and lizards that have kind of a social aspect to them. Like a lot of skinks have that.
Yes, they do.
That's fascinating for me.
Yeah. With it,
you don't have monkey tails though, do you?
I don't.
That's insane.
I have
such a crazy
hard time
social.
with I have a hard time with herbivorous species.
Yeah.
Really?
No, well, if you don't keep many of them, like it's too different. It starts to become multiple things, right? Like for me, that's I have some, and it's definitely a contrast.
Yeah.
And you go to grocery stores, to shop for herbivorous food, and I mean, sorry, but Caesar salad, iceberg salad doesn't cut it.
No,
you have to find dandelions, collards,
exactly,
and stuff that's good for them. And none of that stuff is easy to find for me and where I live. So,
I got contacts.
Yeah. And what did you bring to the show this weekend that you're trying to sell?
I had some baby galliwasps that were born at my place. If people follow my Instagram page, they saw a couple videos and pictures of that. Those are pretty close to my heart. They're on my logo.
Yeah,
I love that species.
I brought some weird.
Oh yeah, they're something else. They're like a cross between a skink and a snake.
Yes, yeah.
Anyways, I brought some baby blue beauty anoles. So those are neat as well. And I also brought some weird geckos and stuff.
Yeah, some Australian leaf tail.
Aussie leaf tails and
And then what are you going home with here?
Yeah, this is my my friend Patrick Laplante in Quebec. If you follow his page, is Riveting Reptiles. He wants to focus on snakes more. So he offered me this cool pair of Almahera ground skinks.
That is cool. They're known as the blinking skink, I think.
I have recently redubbed their common name to blinking skinks. And I will definitely try to video that aspect of them and put that on my feed because it is, well, these guys know, but it is fascinating.
It's
just
fascinating.
Imagine a skink's eye, and then imagine it closing and then opening again.
Yes.
But it's not that simple, Dylan. It's not that simple. They literally blink like a person. Like we blink to keep our eyes humid, and lizards in general. Yeah, some of them blink, but slowly, or
it's not the same. Not
in a
quite the
reptile
same.
fashion, in a reptile manner.
This is human
These guys literally they literally go like blink every few seconds. It's crazy.
We've had hours of this conversation.
I'm fascinated.
Do you think you can hold that closer to the camera?
Yeah, I can hold that. Let's see if I can get it to blink.
You probably won't be able to see a blink, but
I can't see the camera.
Oh yeah, you're getting close. Yeah.
They are an absolute gorgeous species. Gorgeous species.
I tried to scare a blink out of it. I don't think I did.
Yeah, they have a very they just blinked.
Oh man,
they have a very inquisitive looking face. Like they're very curious. Yeah,
I
that's
love
cool.
the black
so you got a
stripes
pair
on the chin. Yeah, I have a male and female.
So you'll be breeding those.
They are very, very rarely bred. I've done a lot of research, and I found one recent person that had eggs and hatched them, but they are very rarely bred.
Yeah,
very rarely.
So we believe in you. We'll be watching your feed.
I feel the pressure.
Yeah, that's
you
pressure.
should. Yeah.
That's cool. The blue beauties are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Are those some of your favorites in the room? It's not. I know everybody hates that question, but I know that you do like them. But they have this character about them.
And what's funny about the blue beauties is that earlier in the spring I thought about selling them.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they were very skittish.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying the adults
they were
quite
super
flighty.
skittish, and I wasn't seeing them a whole lot.
I remember you talked about it at the last Expo.
And and then I gave it more time, and maybe they heard my thoughts about them moving out of my fantastic reptile room, because the moment I talked about selling them, they started being less skittish and more visible. So and now they're a little more interactive.
Yeah.
I got my pair. They were pretty big already, and I have a feeling like they didn't have much interaction growing up.
Yeah, so it's a new environment.
I don't think they were trained to. They were trained to hand feed or tongue feed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the babies they're producing, they're only a few weeks old, and I'm already offering them crickets and prey from tongues, and they're taking it. So
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I think with some work, this species can be definitely less skittish.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
they're beautiful, but B, they get way bigger than I thought.
Me too.
I thought I knew they were big, but I thought like a Cuban nightingale, something like that.
Oh yeah.
But
I received them, and the male was, let's say, without the tail, probably 8 inches,
okay.
6 inches.
Yeah.
It's already a good sized lizard. And I was like, okay, so these are pretty much already adults. And no, the male almost doubled that size, not in length, but also in the head is so big.
Bone structure.
Bone structure. They're heavy. They're a heavy lizard.
Yeah.
So they're impressive.
That's cool.
They are impressive.
Yeah. And imagine having it super interactive where they're not afraid of you and you can tongue feed them. That's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, for sure. But to answer your question, I don't think they're the favorites in my room.
Okay. That's the favorite.
That was incredible, because I did not remember that question.
Yeah, me either. I forgot. Yeah, that's good. Good job holding that on.
Yeah, I have a thing for dragons. I love my dragons. The Boyds.
I was going to say the Boyds.
I do a lot of work lately with the Natalias. My female Natalia does look like she's working on eggs.
Oh, cool.
I am crossing my fingers. She's definitely, belly heavy a little bit, and it's not food.
Yeah.
Because I keep my animals lean and mean. But that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
What? I have 2 questions. Just deciding which one to ask first. I think, was it yesterday you were telling us a story about an animal that you got in that you thought was male, and then it. What was that? I forget now.
Okay, so those are diving lizards.
Oh, those are the diving lizards. Okay.
Yeah, they're a small iguana species from South America. They are amazing. Best personality ever. I mean, they could win a prize for best personality as far as lizards go. And the cool thing about that lizard is that they are sexually dimorphic in color and other morphological characteristics as well, like size and stuff like that, but color. And when they are born, one of them is almost completely black eyes,
like one of the sexes.
Yeah. And the other one is more like light brown with some patterns and
wow, so right
golden eyes, and so they basically almost look like two different species.
Wow.
When they're born, and the breeder, they're not a very well-known species, and they're not bred super often in captivity. And the breeder thought that the black ones were males and that the light ones were females. And so that's what he told me. And that's what I went by for the next 2 years. And this year, the black one...
So Henry's Henriette now.
Yeah, yeah. The black one is getting heavy and started getting, in my mind, bloated. So I was talking with Ashley, like, what do I do? And we were thinking, like, maybe a gut infection or whatever. I've never seen that. It's getting really bloated. But now I know why. The male laid 8 eggs.
That's the crazy thing about that species.
It's 2023, man. It's 2023.
Yeah, anything can happen.
If a male wants to lay eggs,
it laid eggs.
Who am I to say no?
That's right.
So now I figured out that the females are black and the males are light colored.
And have those eggs hatched, or they're still incubating?
They're still incubating.
Okay.
And I candled them. I did a little post, I think last week. I candled them, and I can see some embryos moving in there. So
cool.
They've been incubating at room temperature for 70 days, and they go. And the breeder in EU told me that they go for like 85 days at room temperature.
Yeah.
So I'm really crossing my fingers for babies in the next 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That would be amazing. I can't wait to share the species with the hobby because, boy, they're something else.
They're great size too.
They're perfect.
Yeah,
they're perfect. As far as size goes, I would compare them to
like Fiji or even smaller.
Smaller than Fiji for sure.
Yeah,
it's actually hard to find a comparison. Size-wise, maybe a Chihuahua gecko.
Okay.
Yeah. So the size of the body and obviously different morphology, but
yeah. So, and they are diving lizards, so they are aquatic. Like do you set them up aquatically with
They are considered semi-aquatic. Okay. Yeah. So they live in floodplains in South America.
Okay.
They have no problems being fully terrestrial, and they are often found right in the jungle. But they're called diving lizards because obviously they hang out on trees and on tree limbs and branches and stuff, and they'll dive in the water to escape predators.
Right.
And
do you ever set them up that way with a large water pot? Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. At my place, they're in a 4x4x2 enclosure, which is really big for them. And some dog commotion back there.
Is, one of the sad parts about having dogs here.
Yeah.
They're in a 4x4x2 enclosure. And it's fun because they're a really cool display species as well. Like they're always right in the center of the terrarium, hanging out on branches.
So cool.
And then for water, what do you have? Like a large thing?
I just have a large tub that's buried in the substrate and trying to make it look a bit more natural. But at the same time, I want to keep it easy to clean. I think last time we talked, I had this huge idea about building because they're also like close to streams sometimes, so I really wanted to use the size of the enclosure to build like a stream, and I had an idea in mind, but I think it's not something I've brushed off, but it's a big project, and water features are we were talking about that yesterday too, like water features are tough.
They are.
So,
they are. We'll talk about that one.
I'm a water
feature guy. I'm a water feature guy.
I am no expert, but I would love to provide them with more water. I'm sure they would enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah, the water features are always, they can be hard. And I have one like with a pump.
I think everyone overthinks them.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because if you don't come at it from a fish perspective, you just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a lot of people overthink it in the sense of like, oh, I want it to do this and that and this, and it's like maybe simplifying some aspects of it.
Yeah,
makes it so water doesn't run into the terrestrial area.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like 90% of the time ends up being the biggest problem.
Yeah, it's like everything's flooded.
They're flooding everything out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see. And shout out to Arman from Herptime.
Herptime, yeah.
He has diving lizard eggs as well.
Okay.
Oh,
right now.
cool. So is
we
it
talked
race?
a little.
There's
Yeah,
a
we
race.
exchanged a few messages, and I hope he has success as well with his. And maybe we can do some trades to diversify some bloodlines and
Yeah.
stuff. And so
Wow.
that's really cool.
That's
so
cool.
so a good future for those lizards in the hobby, I think.
Yeah, that's so
absolutely.
cool. And,
Yeah.
and people like you, like actually stepping up and trying to get something new out there that new, quote unquote. A few million years of evolution excluded.
A new species drop.
But letting people see new things that are great sizes. That was the greatest thing about it. Getting seeing the Fiji start to pop up. Hopefully, the price will kind of level out and make it so
Yeah,
the
for
average
sure.
Joe Schmo can maybe think about something. But getting things that are a good size out there is so cool.
Yeah, getting
Yeah.
things that are good size, easy to care for. None of what I keep is, well, that's not true. Most of what I keep is not species that I would consider tough,
Right.
like hard,
Yeah.
hard to keep. Like the
But
one
they're hard to
exception.
get.
Yeah,
Hard to
hard
get,
to
but
get.
hard to
is-
keep,
yeah.
yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to change.
You're
But-
Boyd's, man. Like you're the Boyd's guy. I don't know I don't know other people around that are.
That's the one project that I really have at heart. They are slow growers.
Yeah.
I'm finding out. I kind of already knew that, but yeah. So that project is still a ways away from
Yeah.
giving some results, some hopeful results. But I'm working hard on
Yeah.
that.
What's the? I
That's
just see someone
awesome.
asking the Latin name of the species. I think that's for diving lizards.
Uranoscodon superciliosus.
That's the French version.
That's if you take the French accent off, it sounds a
Okay,
little
well,
different.
say it with an English accent.
Yeah.
Uranoscodon superciliosus.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. I'll give you that. Yeah. Better than I would have said
Yeah.
it. So
It's a long name.
Yeah. So there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not super common.
Yeah, but like you said, so you have people that because Nick, you're not focused on trying to make a ton of money, and I always want to make a point that I'm not worried about. I don't have an issue with people making money. I mean, we've had people on the podcast today who that's their full time business. That's totally
Yeah.
fine. But you're able to be more flexible.
Yeah,
Because
because me,
it's-
it's not an income.
Yeah, it's not an income.
Zero.
So you can mess around with things like we joked about last year, how you bred those really cool. I think it was the granite leaf tails, and nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
but they're so cool, and this is like the first person to do it, and everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he laughed about it. It wasn't like
Oh yeah,
it wasn't like, oh my god, like I was supposed
it's
to
a
sell
laughing
these.
matter. There's
Yeah.
no ways around it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if people are googling the diving lizards, I use diving lizards as the common name because that's what I like. Being an uncommon species, there's more than one common name. You
Right,
often
yeah,
see that. The
yeah.
other common name is, and I hate it. It's moped iguana.
Oh, mopped. Like
I have
Mop head.
I have
mop head.
no idea where that comes from. It's such an ugly name, moped iguana, and
Yeah.
literally like MOP-ed iguana. What the hell?
Yeah, let's go with the
Diving
Yeah, diving
lizard,
lizard.
people.
Yeah,
diving
diving
lizard.
That sounds a lot cooler.
I'm okay pushing that.
Yeah.
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 And
You
so
know.
because of what you breed and keep, it's obscure. You're not going to have a market for it right away because people might not even have heard of it. Do you struggle selling things? Like, do you actually focus on trying to move animals to keepers, or are you just like, if people find you because they want that obscure species, you sell them?
I produce so few animals.
Okay.
And I think that's what I got to keep in mind always. Like, I do not have a facility where I can house hundreds of lizards.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to be really careful with how many lizards I produce. So, for example, the blue beauties, they lay quite a lot of eggs. They like when the female starts laying early summer, she lays one egg a week.
Oh, wow.
So they can lay
Wow.
10 to 12 eggs in a season.
Wow.
What do I do with
boys-
12 blue beauty babies?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I have them in a really elaborate planted terrarium, and I dug up a few eggs and I incubated a few eggs, but I did not put in like huge effort
Just find other
to
ones.
find them, or, I didn't
Yeah.
want to mass produce those guys just because.
Yeah,
you
and, well,
know.
and it's too bad. Like you don't have a friend or anything that lives somewhat close that keeps monitors or anything that would really eat those eggs.
Yeah. I wish I knew a monitor guy that
Yeah. No,
wanted
there's-
to buy blue beauty and olds.
There's no one I know. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it I've heard that about Boyd's too. I've heard Boyd's like, who is it? Coops. Coops
They have
make-
small touches.
Yeah, well, he ends up
Like Cooper, Coop's
Coop's
Reptiles.
Reptiles.
Yeah.
he
That's
puts
cool.
he puts a
Yeah, I
limit.
love-
He
yeah,
puts a
he's great.
limit on how many he feeds his extra eggs off.
Damn right.
He-
And-
he's
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, there's an interest in this many.
Yeah.
I will keep that many,
Yeah.
plus a couple buffers, and then that's it. So he's not like oversaturating and
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is not to control price or whatever, but it's to meet demand. Like
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
nobody messaged me about blue beauties, and they're on the table right now, and it's day 2, and it looks like I'm bringing them home tonight,
Yeah.
unless some monitor guy steps up. He's not listening. I don't know why we're doing this, but whatever.
Exactly. You can take this.
So,
That's a funny thing though about, and this gets into like a philosophical topic, but like when you have egg layers, it doesn't feel wrong to just not incubate them.
Yeah.
But if you have live bearers, you get the babies.
well, they're already pre-incubated.
They're
That's
pre-incubated. They come out moving. They're ready to go.
yeah.
the nice thing
You can still
about
flood a market with it, like
Oh,
a litter of
yeah,
boas, right? Like 40
absolutely.
babies. Like, should you have 40 babies? You can't control it.
Well,
Yeah.
like most live bearers don't push out tons,
Exactly.
right?
No, no.
Like
exactly
Some snakes have huge litters.
yeah.
all the live-bearing lizards I work with have somewhat small litters.
Like one
the
to-
exception
like
to
1 to
that
3.
would be like zebra skinks. They have like they can have like 8, 12 babies.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
But I guess it just comes to how many pairings you have.
Jeez, they must be tiny, man.
Yeah,
Like jelly beans.
It's always surprising the size, of babies with live bearers.
Yeah.
Like with the galliwasp, the female is not that big, and she gave me 3 huge babies. I was astounded by their size.
Yeah. That's cool.
Huh.
Yeah. So with live bearers, the nice thing is that usually it's small litters. But yeah, you're right. It's something you have to juggle with as a breeder. It's a decision you make, and you have to live with it. And
We'll just breed less live bearers if they have.
this
large
year, I
litters,
decided
right?
not to breed the granite leaf-tailed geckos.
Yeah.
Just because last year I produced a few and they were not necessarily easy to move. And so this year I gave them a year off. They're going to be better off. The adults are probably going to be more healthy. And I don't care. I
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Yeah. Well, that's the point, right?
Yeah. It's all. Yeah.
Sometimes we all get caught up in, when the next year, you're just like, oh, I got this species. Well, are you going to pair it up?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like, eventually I will probably.
How about just right now? I just
You know,
enjoy it.
Like even when I got my Aki, I was like adamant. I was not going to, I was like, nope. Breeding
That's
them
what
is
I
not a
enjoy.
direction I'm going to go. Now I'm like, you know what? I will, but I'll keep it to a lower.
I like breeding
boy.
because it brings things full circle for me.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
you
then
know,
they're naturally they breed.
Yeah.
So I think your animals kind of go through their phase, and then
so not producing a lot of animals is the fun thing with having good friends and stuff is that instead of having the pressure of putting forward a full table at expos like this,
Yes. You
We
can
just-
bring a couple animals.
yeah,
in
we
and-
just a couple
Yeah.
of friends, we band up together, and we have a nice, interesting full table, but it's
diverse.
like a
and-
couple of breeders.
yeah.
By
that's
the way,
cool.
Greg, I just sold your lineatas.
Oh man, you've been waiting all weekend for that.
What do you want? A high five
high
or a
five.
fucking handshake?
Give you a handshake.
I was gonna
I'll give you a
do the
bump.
handshake.
There
Oh,
you
there
go.
you go.
He has the sweatiest hands you ever did feel.
Oh, fucking sorry.
I was gonna say about
Oh, that's
that.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's cool. You don't have to go home with those. Thank God for that. No, there was something else I was gonna say about that. What were we were just saying? I forget. What were you just ending with? You forget?
I was saying that we were a couple friends banding together to offer a nice variety of animals.
Yeah.
And not
that's
having the
it.
pressure,
Sorry,
not
I'm
having the
sorry.
pressure on the to be breeding heavy to fill a table.
I remember now too. And like, what's great about because you have that attitude as well. Like all your animals are in amazing setups. Like they have this real full enriched environment. You're replicating this.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
That's
And
the
you can
goal.
tell they're loved. The ones that come in here, man, like
Oh yeah.
like you can tell they're cared for animals.
Exactly. Yeah, they're healthy looking,
Yeah.
they're clear eyes. There's no weird discharge or whatever. And the thing is like you're going to give your granites a year off. They're not going to sit in their breeding tub for 12 months waiting to breeding, and they're in their beautiful environment. And that's what's cool.
Yeah, no, I try to do that for sure.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge, like
yeah.
bringing new stuff home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But hopefully these guys enjoy their new 4-foot enclosure,
The blinking skink.
the blinking skink.
Yeah.
The Indonesian blinking skink.
That's gonna be sick. I can't wait till that catches on.
I know that is the best name.
The
I like
blinking
that.
morph as the ones that blink more.
Yeah.
You breed
Yeah, yeah.
those.
When I offered that on Morph Market, it'll be like the new thing.
They'll be
Yeah.
like, oh my
It'll
god,
be
the
so
blinking skink.
popular.
Yeah. People will buy them up, and then they'll be like, oh, these are just,
It's just regular skinks.
Yeah. It's actually crazy. This species, from what I can tell, lays very, very small clutch. Like they have a very small clutch size. Like I think it's like 1 or 2 eggs.
Oh wow.
Oh, really?
And
Very gecko-ish.
apparently, one of the problem people have is finding the eggs. Like the females do not show. They're pretty big skinks and they're pretty heavy bodied,
Yeah.
and they don't show very well when they're carrying eggs.
Oh, so you might not even. Be
So
paying
you don't
attention.
necessarily know when to search for eggs, and apparently they hide them well. And note there are almost not a lot of species can hatch directly in the terrarium.
No,
so,
they're gonna need some heat for sure.
You could
So
put
I'm
a,
gonna
put
have
a
to
heat
figure that
pad
out.
underneath to keep the soil a certain temperature.
yeah, I never use heat pads. I
I
have zero
I
underbelly.
don't either.
Me too,
I don't
yeah.
either. But
Zero.
if you're dealing with a species that is going to hide its eggs, but they need a certain incubation level, you might be able to cheat it by
Yeah.
heating the soil, just warming the soil up so it's not.
I
room
think the
temp,
way I would do that is probably had a lot of structure to the enclosure, and what I mean by that is, few heat lamps,
Yeah.
different wattage, and lots of rocks
Yeah.
inside the substrate and on the substrate, and that way I do that with the Galliwasps.
Yeah.
That way you create multiple layers of heat,
Right.
and the rocks transfer heat. The rocks
Yeah,
that are on
differently.
top
Yeah, yeah.
transfer heat. The rocks that are on the bottom,
Yeah.
and the rocks actually keep the heat throughout the night and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it doesn't drop the
that's
heat.
the way I
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Fine,
Yeah.
you win, man. It wasn't a
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah.
But,
At the end of the day, Nick wins again.
yeah.
Anyway,
used to it.
Nick, this is awesome. You're up to
Yeah.
always cool things. Again, can you remind everybody the Instagram handle?
Yeah, it's NI Reptiles.
NI Reptiles. Nick's
NI.
Intriguing Reptiles. You can see
Yeah.
all his posts there and on Facebook too.
Yeah.
And you're always up to some cool stuff. I can't wait to see the continued projects and see what this ends up as. And as always,
And go subscribe to the page. You might see a skink blink.
hey there, thank you very much for watching that clip from the Canadian Reptile Breeders Expo live stream. If you want to watch more clips, you can do that here. Or if you want to watch one of the full unedited episodes, you can do that right there.